Black Man Spy podcast at 30,000 feet. I'm Malcolm Nance. This is the Black Man Spy podcast. And we are here for the U.S. Iran Confusion Cast, day 91. I'm Malcolm Nance. I'm actually flying from Reykjavik, Iceland to New York City, and I will be monitoring this podcast while my co-host, Jacob Karsbo, Danish intelligence officer extraordinaire, just back from Oslo, Norway, and Wajeeh, the gay lion, just back from, I don't know, the Wegmans or the supermarket in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Saudi analyst, Middle East Gulf analyst extraordinaire. And we will talk about for the next hour, God knows what's going on. The Confusion Cast is a great name for this because it is confusing. So, guys, first off, let's go through the pro formas while we're waiting for our lovely audience to come on. Let's see them coffee mugs.
Yeah. What's that, Wajeeh? What's that?
He's got his Paddington Bear mug.
Yeah. I've got the Ukrainian mug out again because things are going quite well in Ukraine, actually. So I thought there was a little bit to celebrate. A little bit.
Well, I have my Delta airline interestingly, full of red wine. And unlike most airlines in like Air France or Virgin Atlantic, they won't like put a quarter cup in there. These guys fill it up to the top like it's a cup of coffee. So Delta is trying to get me drunk at 33,000 feet or 25,000 meters. I don't know, however many meters,
Whatever.
15,000 meters. So I will go back off camera. I just wanted to show you I am actually on a plane. I'm not avoiding all of you. And we'll take it from there. Okay, guys, let's talk about oil. Anybody have anything to say about the price of oil today?
Yeah, Wajeeh, you're there. There's a drop. And it amounts to, because I was checking it just as I got in the door, it's gone further down.
Wow.
Than what I saw.
Wow. Okay, this is some crazy
quite
shit.
interesting, isn't it, huh?
What's the dollar drop amount on West Texas Intermediate? I can't
$5.13.
see it. I only see the price. It dropped $5.13 yesterday.
Yeah, but it was up even further, wasn't it, last night? And now there's a significant drop this morning. Yeah, it's gone a bit.
Yeah, this is roller coastering. This yo-yoing is. It's a sheer market manipulation. I mean, we were in combat yesterday. And granted, this morning, the Iranians said that they weren't going to consider this a breach of the ceasefire, and they wanted the memorandum of understanding. But that's a significant price drop for West Texas Intermediate.
Yeah, the Iranians said they had received the draft of the concept of the plan. And then that's probably the main trigger. And also we should remember that Trump is gathering his cabinet, so media expectations are high. That he's gathering his cabinet because of this draft concept of a plan. I suppose.
Concept of a plan.
So, concept of a plan. What more can
draft
you say?
Concept of a plan.
Well, since I'm going to have to balance this out, already been busted by a stewardess, but they didn't. This steward goes, "Oh, if it's a live stream, we don't care." He said it's not a phone call. I go, "Oh, okay, works for me, bro." I'm such a cool guy. But let's go on to significant activities of the day. The most significant activity at this point was the reading that there's no deal. Talk amongst yourselves. Memorandum of understanding. Does anybody know what the status is?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the statements coming out of Iran, especially from Tasnim, which is close to the Revolutionary Guards, was quite significant in it. That in the draft MOU, the U.S. Navy won't be allowed back in the Gulf.
Yeah.
And if Trump really signs up to that, that makes, the surrender agreement with the Taliban in Afghanistan look like a victory lap.
Exactly.
I will say. So it doesn't surprise me the least, but it's out there. That's what they're reporting from Iran. So that is hugely significant.
They're also saying if the memorandum of understanding was approved within 60 days, it must be approved by the UN Security Council to make it binding. So Malcolm was like, "Oh, they're not trying to have anyone sign this," because it's just such a ridiculous memorandum of understanding. Is the whole point of it is not binding, right? But the Iranians are continue wanting everything to be binding. Um,
But
and yes, like
the
you
MOU
said, they
is
want.
supposed to
Go
be
ahead.
the MOU is supposed to be signed in a couple of days. This is different from the agreement, the final 60-day agreement.
Yep.
So there's really only 4 points. I'm not seeing any movement on the MOU at all. No. Y'all?
The last,
No.
the, the
Not in
last
terms of
part of the
positions.
no, but the last part of the MOU that Iran has mentioned was that the Strait of Hormuz would be controlled by Oman and Iran combined. And that is also, if Trump agrees to that, that's essentially allowing Iran to make bank on the Strait of Hormuz. So everything we said that everything we said that Trump would have to approve on, we're seeing Trump coming around and might having to approve on. But I also said that Israel is the only thorn here that could change the whole equation at any minute. Because at
Well,
the same
let's
time as this is go ahead.
no, go on. Finish your thought.
As Israel is as this peace negotiation is going, you have Israel going really hard in Lebanon, and you have official Israeli uh, officially public officials from Israel coming out and publicly stating that they want Netanyahu to go and bang the table at Trump and tell him that they want to resume this war, and if that doesn't work, they're just gonna take it in their own hand or something like that.
Yeah. But, I mean, it could derail the whole thing, and how Trump manages to calm that down for the process with Iran to move forward is beyond me, because that seems a really tall order.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, that could be.
Well,
come on, Malcolm.
let's recap the 4 points in the memorandum of understanding so everybody knows where this hung up about 3 days ago, right? Because the last thing I heard was Marco Rubio made a statement that it would take 2 or 3 days to get something out of the Iranians. So the original position was the document, the MOU, would act as a vehicle that would act as an agreement that would end the war. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's point number 1. The MOU is to act as a vehicle to end the war.
Yeah.
It would have 4 parts to it. 1, the Strait of Hormuz would reopen right? Under IRGC control or whatever vehicle, but it would reopen to its pre-war levels without restrictions. And we've said over the last 3 or 4 days, that would just be the IRGC goes to, license plate billing.
Yeah.
They write your name down.
Yeah.
So that can happen, right? As a matter of fact, we're starting to see more movement out of the Gulf. I think 36 ships, 3 days ago, 37 ships
Yeah.
departed out of the SOH, the most that's ever departed on a single day. So that's one thing. So the SOH essentially reopens. The other is, the other components of it were that the United States was supposed to authorize the release of money. And I believe, or unfreeze American money. The Qataris went there and were negotiating a $12 billion, not a settlement, but they were calling a reconstruction loan. But I know this is going to happen. And let me tell you how this is going to happen, because the Iranians are pushing for 25 billion. And the reason I know it's going to happen is last night on Fox News, Jesse Waters, one of Trump's biggest brown nosers, right? Jesse Waters was trying to justify the release of the $25 billion. And if that wasn't coming from the White House, that it's absolutely going to happen, he wouldn't have opened his mouth. He wouldn't have, right?
No.
Because, and my favorite part was Jessica Tarlov, the liberal lady who's on there, was very accurate, very sharp. Jesse Waters was pounding on Obama gave pallets of cash. This was in cash. And then Waters says, this is not going to be cash. It's just going to be an electronic transfer. Right? An electronic transfer.
Oh, it's much better.
That's different. But Jessica Tarlov goes, okay, do whatever cope you want, but you're going to pay Iran $25 billion. 25 times the amount of money Obama transferred, which it was their money, right? And the Qataris were negotiating this $12 billion, which was sort of, we said this the other day, zakat, Islamic charity, right? Which we all know what's really happening here. It's reparations for damages. And the Gulf states, I'm afraid to say it, the Gulf states are going to pay. What do you say?
I mean, I could see some Gulf states paying it and some Gulf states getting away with not paying it. The idea is it is cheaper for the Gulf state to pay it and start this international trade again and be allowed to take a pay cut from their revenue for a few years, selling oil through the Strait of Hormuz, while they're building more pipelines from the east coast to the west coast of Arabia, and while the UAE continues to build pipelines from Fujairah to the other ports. That is going to be the main strategy. So yeah, sure, if it means that they're gonna pay few $1 billion now to save multi-$100 billion business, I could see it happening.
Yeah, I agree.
But the thing that I don't know if I mentioned this
on Saturday. That is an intelligence indicator. For those of you who don't wonder why we harp on these particular key here, for all of them to get on that call and to talk to Trump and to say the war must end, right? That tells you that not only is the White House desperate, they're desperate. They need this money, and their entire industry could collapse. I heard today that, what is it? Thailand, which has liquid natural gas, is about to displace Qatar as a natural gas supplier to Asia, which will upset everything. And then when the SOH opens and natural gas tankers can start going through. There's going to be a price war where Qatar will have to, absorb a lot of losses, an enormous amount of losses, because now Thailand will start getting in there. And you know what? I'm afraid to say it. I think Trump had this in mind. I think he wanted to get rid of Qatar as an LNG supplier for U.S. LNG, even though it would take weeks or a month at a time or 2 months at a time to get gas over there. I can be cynical,
but hey, they got him with the Air Force One. So
You know what the Qataris would do if that happens?
What?
It's easy. They're more than happy to take the hit. They will undercut the market for the next 6 months, giving the market the cheapest gas, natural gas that
On the
they
planet?
could sell on the planet, forcing every competitor to bend down. And then after they all bend down, they will start raising the prices. Wajeeh said so.
Yeah.
That would be long ball.
But
That
the
would be them playing
Qataris,
very smart long ball.
it takes them time to get back up because the damages to the infrastructure in Qatar are quite severe. So their main LNG plants, it will take time.
Look, let's always keep the wild card on the table, right? No matter what they do. Let's say that this works for 6 months, right? The MOU happens, that there's a war goes out. Nothing says Israel's not going to find Mujtaba al-Khamenei in public or in a bunker, and they isolate him. And then they pull, say, ballistic missile blitz and wipe out the leadership again.
Yeah.
Which, of course, would absolutely restart the war. Absolutely, to where Qatar will be eating it. And the only thing that would stop that is if Israel hit them and every one of the Gulf states goes to the Iranians and essentially says, we're not involved in this. And, Iran will ask for a concession. They will ask for a public commitment that they will never sign a peace treaty with Israel and that the Abraham Accords are dead.
Yeah.
That's the only way Iran wouldn't retaliate. And I would support, here's the countries that'll still yes to that. Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and Oman. Right? Those four will absolutely say, okay, yeah, that's true. Whereas UAE is, I don't know. I don't know if the UAE would go that far.
The Sultan of Oman yesterday issued a royal decree increasing the economic trades with Iran. I don't know if you heard that.
No, but you know what? Oman always does this. Oman tries to be the Switzerland of the Gulf states. They're the poorest of the Gulf states, right? And now that Iran has shown them that they can reach out and touch Salalah, right? It's like, oh yeah, remember all them bunkers you blew up? If Iran plays a very, very long game, and I think that they would be, again, they go to Qatar and go, hey, listen, we're sorry. We'll secretly repay you for those tanks, or we'll get the Qataris to repay you for those bunkering tanks. That was an accident, but hey, you're going to make $80 billion a year with a multi-pass, agreement with us. All right. And suddenly, Oman wouldn't be the poorest state. It would have more power, with the Iranians. And so I'm not quite sure how they would respond. But if Israel attacks, just blitzes out of nowhere, I think Iran will can publicly end the Abraham Accords, just like Saudi Arabia walks away from it. Did anybody sign that damn thing?
Just the Bahrain, I think, and the
UAE.
United Arab Emirates.
Check it out. UAE signed it, and that's why they have full diplomatic relations. I got to tell you something. I don't even know where in the UAE the Israelis would have an embassy. It's got to be like on Sheikh's on what is it? Sheikh Zayed Military City. It's going to be down in Ruwais, inside the perimeter of the nuclear power plant. It's going to be somewhere where it is, or Dhafra Air Base, right? Because I can't imagine where in that city. I mean, I lived in that city for 10 years. My wife developed it, brought it out of a desert nomad, and she designed major neighborhoods. And so you couldn't keep it in downtown or the Corniche or even in an apartment. You would have to be way out in a massive villa that's being protected. And I'm not joking about Sheikh Zayed Military City. It may be there in a obscure section of the base, or well, you recall last time, Netanyahu flew in. He flew into El Ain. El Ain is a small oasis to the east of Abu Dhabi. It's an actual oasis, right? There's palm trees out there, and there's lakes and stuff, and it may be some secret facility villa out in the middle of the desert outside of El Ain.
Yeah. But I think if that were to happen, overflight rights, etc., and trying to put pressure on the Saudis as well to restrict that, because just like they're saying now with the Trump administration, well, stop it. I think the Iranians feel that they can put more pressure on the Gulf states, on Saudi Arabia, to be restrictive when it comes to Israel and security cooperation with Israel,
Right.
essentially.
Well, in
It wouldn't
other
surprise
news,
me.
speaking of oil, the Saudis and the Emiratis got two very large crude carriers out of the Strait of Hormuz. They went dark mode, which means they turned their AIS on, and they just steamed out. They didn't go through Easy Pass. So they probably went shallow. And it may be that these were the vessels that the, secret Project Freedom were actually escorting, right? And so the names were the Eagle Veracruz, which was going from United Arab Emirates to Guangzhou, China. Transited in dark is one of them. And the other one, don't know. But two tankers, right? But like somebody says, but pre-war on February 27th, 90 very large crude carriers were going outbound every day. 90 outbound. And that's a shitload of, if you think about it, these tankers would run in 2 days at the most. It's a condo line for them to have to get out there. And we're barely making a dent in the global situation. And I'm starting to wonder, Trump himself doesn't really care. Other news that we had.
But could it be, Malcolm?
Malcolm,
could it be that the Iranians had wanted to curry favors with both the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and China? And say, okay,
well, it's an example where they can go, here's your money, right? You could be doing this every day. You just got to stop listening to Trump.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Okay. Next story that came up is, this was my friend Mario Noafel says, the U.S., according to Israel's Channel 12, the United States informed Israel it intends to withdraw its military aircraft from Ben Gurion Airport if a deal with Iran is reached. The tankers, the KC-135s and the KC-46 Pegasuses, those in-flight refueling tankers are merely there because every other base in the Middle East is saturated. So it would be more of a showtime thing. I don't know if you guys have been to Ben Gurion recently. I was last year. No matter what runway you're there, you're going to see any airplanes, right? It is a big ass wide airbase. So KC-145s with the U.S. Air Force, Mark those taking off. What they're not saying is, yeah, we're going to move them to Uvda Air Base in eastern Israel, which will become the new Central Command. But fighter aircraft have left Uvda. We're seeing that F-35, not F-35s, F-15Es, Strike Eagles have already rotated out of Israel. I think there's a silent drawdown happening, and Pete Hegseth is happy to have it done
Yeah.
at Trump's order, of course.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. But again, it's interesting how the situation in Lebanon can play into this, because I would assume the Israelis wouldn't want this to happen.
Okay. Hey, real quick, breaking news here.
Okay.
This came out 32 minutes ago. Now, the fact that I got to get it at 33,000 feet is hilarious. Iran state television says it has obtained a draft of the Washington-Tehran MOU. The main points are: one, the U.S. will lift the blockade and withdraw from Iranian waters. Two,
Yes.
Iran will not allow commercial vessel transit by the Strait of Hormuz to return to pre-war levels within 30 days. We knew about that. Three, Iran and Oman will administer the Strait of Hormuz mechanism, right? Although that's been discussed before, right? Four, military vessels are not included in this agreement.
Yeah,
So if
that's
this
what
is
I was saying.
Iran's version of things, this will help. This will help because one, by saying
That's what I was reading
US
to you
military,
before the.
okay, yeah, but this is the MOU, not the final agreement. The MOU is what they've been saying they're going to sign. We're 95%. We're going to sign this every day.
What I call the
by
draft
saying
concept of the plan. The draft concept of the plan.
Yeah, but it forces the U.S. military to withdraw now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
that's a big-ass concession. And to tell you the truth, I'm almost certain the aircraft carriers, the small ships there, they need a port visit. They have maintenance. They have food issues. And I haven't seen that there's been this conga line of U.S. combat replenishment ships going out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if the carrier goes straight. My guess is that it would go straight through over to India, right, or the Seychelles or some nearby place and resupply, because they have to resupply with real food. And you got to buy it. You got to buy it locally. It can't come from San Diego. It would take a month for food to come from San Diego, especially when you're talking 6,000 men on the carrier, 10,000 total on all the warships. The small ships can go to the Seychelles, and they can go to Aqaba or even Eilat, Israel, by going through the Red Sea. They're going to want to keep them in the Indian Ocean area. And no one's going to Karachi. No one's going to Fujairah. I'm running out of places for them to go. No one's going to Aden, Yemen. They'd have to go down to fucking Tanzania or Reunion or Madagascar or something to get decent food, because it ain't in Diego Garcia. And look, I've spent a lot of time on ships. I can't even imagine this float. This floats 90 days from combat, which is 24/7 operations. So they're not getting food, and fresh water and you can make fresh water on a nuclear carrier, but it's the small ships. You saw what they did with the three small minesweepers, right? Sent their asses sail 15 days at high speed to get to that port. So I suspect a lot of ships are going to rotate out, and that we need to do it just as much as the Iranians do it.
Yeah.
Oof, that's a big one. Iran allowing commercial vessel traffic within 30 days. They're going to collect their money.
Yeah.
And then military vessels not included in the agreement. So no U.S. vessels are allowed back in the Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
But why would you go to a destroyed Bahrain, right? And then the Persian Persian Gulf Straits Authority will now include Oman. And you can almost hear Oman going, okay, we agree with this. That's fine.
Yeah.
We're okay with that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, they will just insert an O into the abbreviation of the Persian Gulf Strait Authority, and then that's all good.
Listen, the
Oh,
pressure on the Gulf economy and nevertheless about on the global economy is real. The United Nations
yeah.
food program came out yesterday and said 363 million people are in acute risk of immediate hunger because of this Strait of Hormuz crisis. The
Mm.
matter of fact is the only other strait that's open at the moment and much less shipping goes through it is through Bab al Mandab, which is through the Red Sea. If any
Well, there are other
immediate
straits.
escalation,
Mhm.
well, like in I'm talking about
Yeah.
the
In
Arab
the region.
the air in the region, the two the two seas, the Arab Gulf and the Red Sea. And
Yeah.
because of these straits pass through like some of the most major economics in the world, it's really crucial for most economies. And if any immediate escalation happens with Iran, like you were mentioning earlier, it would be detrimental, like immediately detrimental to everyone on the globe. So when
Mm-hmm.
Arab leaders are sitting down on the phone and like, Trump, wake the fuck up. Like we are about to have
Yeah.
our own uprising. The Arab Spring might be coming back here in 2 days if we don't do shit about this. We may not be even having phone calls in a month if we continue to do this shit. This is the wake up
Mm-hmm.
call that Trump might be facing at the White House now, and like putting that type of pressure on Israel to the point that Netanyahu and his administration is having a total breakdown and total tantrum,
Yeah.
like a baby child at the moment, which tells you everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm. According
Yeah.
to
Exactly.
Iranian state media, this agreement that we just read has already been agreed to by the United States. This was handed to them by the US.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, within the next hour, okay, certainly while Wajeeh is doing his question and answers. And by the way, I've got my Q&A on here. Waj, I'm going to let everybody go to your Substack to do the live Q&A. I can answer questions like I always do by text down here. But I suspect within the next hour, you're going to hear um, Netanyahu go, no deal, right? U.S. is surrendering. But do you notice what's
Hmm.
not on there? Ceasefire in Lebanon
Yeah.
Yeah.
is not on there.
But
So
that's
this, according to the Iranians, is going to be the framework. Once it's signed, then they go into the 60-day negotiation, and Hamas is in, or Hezbollah is in that.
I don't think this will fly with the Iranians now, Malcolm. I think that's too soon to say. I've also noticed that a few hours ago, the one of the high-ranking guys in the Iranian National Security Council went out and said, "Well, we've not said yes. We're looking at this,
Hmm.
etc." And I think that the Lebanon issue they will try to put it in there.
He
Yeah.
he said
Well, it's
we
like,
need
mhm,
he said we need physical valid proof that the United States is going to show us
Mm.
so we can trust within this process. Like what the Iranians want is more than just a word from the US government. They want an actual
mhm.
commitment, and they want that commitment to be proven by some actions. That's why the action is get the fuck out of the Gulf so we can feel safe.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite part is, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it about 8, 10 weeks ago that Trump said, "We demand from Iran unconditional surrender,"
Surrender.
and that he retweeted a few days or yesterday. I think he retweeted that same one where he said the only
Did
thing
he?
that they will accept is that Iranian soldiers put down their guns and that Iran comes to the table and turns over all their weapons and that they wave a white flag and unconditionally
Yeah,
surrender
that's
this. And he put that out 8 days ago, but he put it out again today. And it's like, is he going to tell MAGA they surrendered when in fact we surrendered?
yeah.
Oh my
But
God, this is crazy.
yeah, yeah. But he'll come out and claim whatever. It's going to be crazy to see. But this really is absurd. I mean, this really is absurd.
Very much so.
Well, we started the program out today with no information about it. And now while we were talking, the Iranians were like, "Hey, this is what we got from the Americans."
Yeah,
Normally I would go, "This is a bullshit Iranian story." But everyone is reporting that this is what was handed to the Iranians from
yeah,
us via
yeah.
the Pakistanis. And here's what it is, right? No
Actually,
military vessels in the Strait of Hormuz.
Malcolm, just
That's
a
a good.
funny one
I
here.
like that because the IRGC will say they're not military.
A funny one here is the fact that the spokesman from the Iranian Revolutionary Guards has already been out and talked about the draft concept of a plan and saying, "Well, but this is a surrender of the Americans." So, so, and when they are right, then you really have to say this is crazy.
Oh, it's just insane. Just insane. I just appreciate that this didn't come out 10 minutes after the show ended. That it usually does. But mark my words, Trump will be out 10 minutes after the show ends while Wajeeh is answering his questions. And he will deny that any of this is happening. It's a lot. We're going to do more airstrikes and we're going to be attacking the biggest, the bestest, the betterest. Holy cow. Just
And they
utterly
won't.
amazing.
It will be
Just,
obliterated. They won't see the light of day. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
yeah. Holy cow.
And then the price
well,
of oil will
that
go
was
up back $5.
Yeah.
Oh no! Now you can see oil. You can expect oil to hit like $80 now. And I'm wondering, Wajeeh, if that memorandum had already been distributed by the time we talked about oil this morning. Because I just can't even imagine West Texas Intermediate going to $89.
Yeah. No, but I think it
Crazy.
was. I think it was.
It is 89 at the moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it was a reaction to that to that news from Iran. Why it started
Okay.
dropping.
I'll take it. I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know. All right. Well, this is how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's
the one
super
issue that I
interesting
would
to see what happens
Please.
at Trump's cabinet meeting, actually, because
That is going to be an interesting one.
when
Yeah.
is it scheduled? In a few hours or sometime? I'm on
you're
European
talking about
time.
now.
So.
It was
Yeah.
supposed to
President.
start at 9 o'clock. It was supposed to be at Camp David.
9 a.m.
Full
Eastern.
cabinet meeting. Yeah, so it should already have started 40 minutes ago. I'm not seeing
Oh,
any readouts on it on Twitter right now.
okay.
So which now, of course, that stuff happens behind closed doors until that segment where everyone goes around the room and has to publicly kiss Trump's ass and declare that. Did you see that they did a study of White House statements and found that 30 to 35% of everything said by every cabinet member every time they talk publicly is praise of Donald Trump's pasty white ass.
Yes.
Can you believe this? Every third word had better be praise for the glorious leader.
They went to Saudi
Mind-boggling.
Arabia for a quick lesson and came back.
No. Even Saudi Arabia is not this bad. This is straight up North Korean stuff. Remember,
DPRK, yeah, it's DPRK style stuff.
well, don't forget, Trump said that. He said he loves that this is how North Korea's leaders are praised.
Yeah.
Okay, where do we got to go?
I'm searching White House
there's a-
on
there's a
YouTube
comment.
and I'm
Yeah.
not finding anything.
But Wajeeh, it's
There's a
only
comment
after
from
we
Marco
log.
Rubio.
It's only after we log off. They'll wait.
There's a
They
comment
say
from
these
Marco.
three.
Marco Rubio says Trump has called a cabinet meeting for peace at the White House amidst Iran peace talks. Marco Rubio on Air Force One says it's either going to be a good deal or there isn't going to be none. Okay, well, you have a
deal.
very weird
Not a
definition
good,
of a good
great
deal, but the Iranians are taking it. So this is just mind-bogglingly stupid. According to some organizations, the cabinet meeting has not started yet. They said there's a good comment from Pete Santelli. Pete Santelli is from Cincinnati. He says, was the Camp David meeting a leak test to see who leaked it? Ew. Oh, and the cabinet meeting will start at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Let me go to my clock. That is in 1.5 hours. And it's because they had to wake Trump up and get him in his diapers. And that takes a heavy lift train and at least a half hour. You guys,
it's like when they find a stranded whale, it's the same machinery that needs a stranded whale.
This ain't funny. Okay. That's okay. We have gone through the significant activity. I'm now going to go over to the Substack chat. I don't know if I can see the chat. But what we're going to do is we're going to let this one a little short today, so that I can continue flying. Wajeeh, you're going to be holding your question and answer period next.
Yeah, and it's not going to be as long as usual, but it depends on how many questions they have for me. I answer the questions I get. So as many as questions I get, I'll be answering them. As when you guys finish, I usually end my Q&A. So if you just want to come over after this, that works.
Okay.
And in 4 hours and a bit, I'll host a Q&A on NATO's future, European security, and what's going on in Ukraine, because there's a lot of action as well.
Nice. Oh, well, thanks for inviting me to that.
Yeah, but no, everyone is invited. Everyone is invited.
I will be on the ground at 1:30 Eastern time because I'm moving backwards in time. And we will be back as normal. Tomorrow I will be in the blue room of my home. And if any breaking news happens, of course, we will come up on here. So with that, if you're watching this on YouTube, please come over to Substack and subscribe to malcolmnance.substack.com. Be sure to share this. If you are on here, we are trying to eke our way back up. And guys, if you got $7, just throw it at us, right? Now we're still the top 10. We are the number 10 world report, news, world affairs report in Substack. And I mean, there are a lot of them. I think we're higher than BBC, but it's crazy that people actually pay attention to us. But as you see, we are never wrong. We're never wrong. And you can predict the future by watching this. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. or somewhere else.
Have a safe flight, Malcolm.
Bye-bye.
See
ya.
Travel
safely, my friends.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.